And I will introduce our next speaker, who is Laysa Uchoa, and will make us a very nice talk about supersearch with OpenSearch and Python. Hi, Laysa.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. So, hello everyone.
How are you? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Munich
Okay.
in Germany. And
And
you?
I'm calling from Tenerife, Spain. I think, like
Great.
Peter, you have very cold weather there, or maybe I don't know.
Yes, it's really cold inside my home.
I hope you have at least a good hot coffee or tea. I don't know.
Yes, I have some heater.
Okay. Can
So,
you maybe?
I will
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
share my screen. Moment. I think you'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
So I will be switching between the screen and the command line. So I will just leave it. But you can see the command line as well, right?
Yeah. Everything is fine.
Okay, great.
Okay, I will leave the floor to you, and have a nice presentation.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope you had a great conference so far. My name is Laysa Uchoa, and I'll be giving a talk about supersearch with OpenSearch and Python. A little bit about me. I worked for a long time with Python, and now I work as a developer advocate for Ivan. At Ivan, we manage open source databases for you. I'm also a contributor in the Python community. I really like Python, and I happen to live in the city of Munich. So I have been organized PyLadies Munich chapter for about 3 years. And yeah, let's see what we have in the agenda for today. So I will go over about what is OpenSearch for the people who don't know what is OpenSearch. And I will explain to you, or I will try to convince you why should you use OpenSearch in your applications. And I will go over how can you write search queries. I will do this in a sort of a demo and also explain to you in the code. So first of all, what is OpenSearch? OpenSearch is a direct fork of Elasticsearch version 7.10. OpenSearch is right now, I believe, in the version 2.3.0. If you are familiar with Elasticsearch, from that version, that would be similar. But of course, now there are different projects and they are developing differently. What is OpenSearch? Hasn't this name it has? OpenSearch is open source, which means that you can download the code, you can change it, and you can use it as you want. Another thing that OpenSearch has in the name and is OpenSearch is a search engine. Search is very good for example, if you want to put this as your application to serve as a search engine, OpenSearch would be a good choice for that. OpenSearch comes with something like analytics suite, which is kind of a fancy word to tell you that, yeah, you can draw graphics and you can draw some visual information using the OpenSearch dashboards, which would be similar to Kibana, for you. And you don't need any kind of programming for that. It's really in this program. OpenSearch is also very good for log analytics. So a lot of companies, they use OpenSearch not actually as a search engine, but they to send logs. For example, you could send a lot of logs to OpenSearch, and you would see it in the OpenSearch dashboards, how it goes, and it handles very well large amount of data. OpenSearch has support for REST API, so if you work as a backend and you're already familiar with REST API, you could use this to connect with your OpenSearch cluster and send requests for it. And OpenSearch has language support, which you can use OpenSearch with different clients, such as Python, Go, Node.js, and others. So if you don't want to use the Python client, maybe you are familiar with other clients, you can use also to connect with your OpenSearch cluster. Why should you use OpenSearch in your application? When I think about OpenSearch, I think about superpowers. And when I think about superpowers, I think about superheroes. And so I'll try to kind of explain to you how OpenSearch works for a hero. So if OpenSearch would be a hero, OpenSearch would be able to speak several languages. Actually, OpenSearch has support for more than 30 human languages, which means that if you are sending your data in, I don't know, your mother tongue, which is not English, or if you are sending your data, OpenSearch would optimize those data saving for the language that you are using. If OpenSearch would be a hero, OpenSearch would be able to read your mind. OpenSearch has support for auto-completion, and maybe you have seen this in other search engines. You are typing, and out of the standard, the search engine is completing for you. Kind of think, what would you type, right? So that is something that you can do with OpenSearch. Another thing that if you think like OpenSearch can speak so many languages, can OpenSearch understand my broken English? The answer is yes. You can use something called fuzzy searching, which is able to still bring you relevant results even when you mistype something. So this is actually really cool. And last, I would say that OpenSearch has support for dynamic mapping, which is if you are coming from different database, more relational databases, you would have to specify the mapping before you send your data. With OpenSearch, you can send your data and OpenSearch will try to find the mapping out of it, like dynamically. Of course, you can also specify your data upfront, but it does have support for dynamic mapping. So this is also something that I would say quite nice from OpenSearch. This what I'll say is like a short summary of OpenSearch superpowers. But let's see how can we write search queries with OpenSearch. So here I have a demo you can get from this QR code. We're gonna be using Python. We're gonna be using OpenSearch cluster, which is already running, and we're gonna be using lots of data from recipes from food. So I hope you all had lunch by now, or I hope you don't get so hungry. So yes, if you don't get this QR code now, I will also share in the end of the slides, so it's okay. So let's see how it is. First, I will show you how the data looks like. So the data I will be sending to OpenSearch, they are composed of JSON documents, and the information that there is in this data are things like this. We're gonna be looking more specifically in the title, but yeah, the whole document would also have calories, protein, rating, sodium, and other information. So I will show you here. So I have it here already, the OpenSearch Python IDE open, and I already download. I will make this a bit bigger so you can see better. Let's see, yes, so I think it's good. So I have it here, and if I'm using Reach to print things here, but the file looks a bit like this. And we have it here, how you can get started, which kind of version I'm using, and how you can try out with your OpenSearch cluster, and what does it have. So we're gonna be working with the search queries that you can find it here, like match, match, and others. So first search query that I have it here is the match one. So how can you write the match query, or how does it work, the match? So I have it here, as I show you, I have a CLI that we're gonna be using to interact with our cluster, of OpenSearch cluster. I already send all the documents to them, but I have it also here, functions that will help you to send the documents. So I have about 20,000 recipes that I send to my OpenSearch cluster. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna interact and try to query things out of it. So I have this function here, search.py, and the function, we're gonna be looking in the match pair. So if you do --help, you will see it here. What do you need to pass to the CLI? And in this case, we need to pass which field are we querying and what kind of words we are querying this field. And yes, so let's try to find something. So I thought I have here recipes, and I tried to look for recipes one recipe that is very exotic to find. And one that comes up in my mind is chocolate and garlic. I don't know if you would be curious to try, but I think it was the most exotic thing. Can't find something that has chocolate and garlic on it. So let's see. So I'll be using the match pair, and we're gonna be writing chocolate, garlic here. Oops, I need to also add the title, which is the field that I'm gonna be querying from, and it's gonna be looking. As you can see here in this list, we have chocolate garlic mojo with toasted Cuban bread, has the first one here, and then we have a bunch of recipes with garlic, not with chocolate. So the way that the match query works by default is using the operator or. So what's actually is looking is like, is there in the title chocolate or garlic? So that's why you see recipes with only garlic here, and still they show up. If we want to actually look for recipes with only that contains these both words, we use an operator. And in this case, we're going to specify the and here. What it's going to be looking now is that, is there chocolate and the word garlic in the field title? And you can see here that shows up this recipe, which I think it could be interesting to try. But let's see now how it's in the code. How does it work in the code? So we have here OpenSearch client that is written in Python that we are interacting with our OpenSearch cluster. And we have here the function .search. When we interact in the search queries, we have to specify in which index we are being looking. If you think about index, it's like when you take a book and you don't want to look for page by page. Normally, there is an index where you can find the documents, right? Like the sections that you can look for the words. It's the same with OpenSearch. So here I have the index called recipes, and we're going to specify the body here, which is a Python dictionary. In the body, we have the query, which type of query we're going to be using. In this case, is the match one. And we have the field. In this case, is title. We're going to specify what words we are looking in the query and which operator we're going to be using. If you don't specify the operator, the OR operator is taken by default. So we found out that we found this recipe called chocolate garlic mojo with toasted Cuban bread. If you like it, you can ask me. I can send you the recipes or the data. So this data you can also find in the repository. And it looks a bit like this. I think it looks tasty. Don't you think? I would give it a try. So next query I'm going to be using is the one that I will start with an example. So imagine if you are looking for things in a database. And if I'm looking for my name, I actually have a composed name. So in case you look for Laysa Myra, in case you swap these words, you may end up with a different person. So sometimes the order of the word does matter. And for that, you would write with the word matters, you would write something called the match phrase query. And let's see an example how the match phrase query works. So I have it here, python search.py, match phrase. I believe it's like this. Let's see if I wrote correct. Yes, I wrote correct, so the -- help. And we're going to specify the field and the query. Oops, let me search.py, match phrase, and then we have title. And we're going to specify, let's search for something. So if I search for the word coconut cake, we search for the word coconut cake and we can find that here several recipes. But let's suppose that for some reason I didn't write coconut cake, but I write cake coconut, which is not correct in English, but let's suppose that our user is writing this. And you see it here, if I swap the words, I no longer can find any results. Because I'm using the match phrase, and by default, the slope parameter, which I've explained to you, is 0. But the slope parameter would be a parameter that it's the flexibility, it's the flexibility between, is the distance that the words can have. In this case, it's 0, so it means that whatever you type in that order needs to be looked. But let's suppose now we wrote has a 0 and we could not find anything. If we wrote the slope parameter has 1, then you can see it now that we can find cake with coconut in different titles here. Okay, if we put actually the slope has a 2, what would we find? So in this case, we actually can find coconut cake. So I think now we can have some idea that actually what the slope parameter is accounting by the number of moves that you can have between the words to match with your word. But I'm a very visual person, so I prepared this thing for you so you can understand in a visual way. We have it here. What we got it was cake with coconut, but what we query was cake coconut, for example. What happened is when we allow the slope parameter to be 1, what OpenSearch will do, we'll try to match the swap of those words until it has a swap in the 1 distance. So I have it here. If coconut from the position 2 go to position 3, you will see that it matches with cake with coconut now, even if you don't have the with there, but just the order. If we go further, as we try to query the cake coconut, and we put a slope of 2, what happened is that you could swap the word coconut to the first position, would be 1 slope, and cake to the second position would be 2 slopes. And with this, you would end up matching to coconut cake. So I hope this was a piece of cake to understand, maybe even a coconut cake. And let's go to our next query. Our next query is fuzziness. And to demonstrate how fuzziness works, I try to think about something that even for native speakers may be not easy, but definitely it's not easy for me because English is not my mother tongue. So the word desert and dessert. One is sweet and the other one is dry, I would say. But yeah, let's try to find if we can find recipes with this word in our recipes set. So I'll be looking for Python search.py fuzziness. I'll look for fuzziness. If in case I don't know by heart, I can always look here. Is actually fuzz. So I'll just copy it here and I'll continue with Python search.py. And then I'll put fuzz here. I'll be looking in title and I'll be looking for the word desert. As you can see, the fuzziness, when we are looking the fuzziness square, it's by default doesn't using any fuzziness level. And yeah, you can see it here that is 0. And we could not find anything, of course, because we don't have this word there. But in the case that I look for help here, and you see that I can specify the fuzziness level. So I'll add the fuzziness level here. I'll just copy it here. And I'll add the fuzziness level of 1. But still we cannot find anything because I believe it's the word here. But let me see. If we put a fuzziness level of 2, now we can actually find something. So how does that fuzziness work? I'll explain it to you. So fuzziness level, or the fuzziness, is done by the Levenshtein distance taken into account the number of character chains that your query, so what you are looking for, can match with whatever is there. For example, here, SOP would be Uchoa, desert would be also one character, city also one character, and act here is an example how it also works for transposing. So it works for change one of character, add one of character, remove one of character, and also transpose characters that are close to each other. Okay, I can move it here, and you would end up with something like client search.py. That's how it would look in the code, match, and the title and the query desert of fuzziness level of 1. And yes, this would be the result. But one thing that you can do about this, like if you don't know how your data set is, how long are the words there, what you can do is to specify the fuzziness level to be automatically, because the OpenSearch would say, okay, maybe here are always long words, and we need a bit of more fuzziness level. Because in case you try to, you have short words there and you put the fuzziness levels very high, what will happen is that you may end up with a different word that you are not looking for. So let's try to actually use the same one, but now we're going to put something automatically there. So we have search.py, fuzz, and we're going to specify, we have the fuzz query, and we are looking the title, and we're going to specify the fuzziness. Let's see if I get the word fuzz is correct. But yes, something is wrong here. Let's see, what could it be? Yeah, what we are looking for. So we are looking for desert. Let's see if this would work. If we look for fuzziness and add auto. So now it works. Like, so this would be like my recommendation if you are using your fuzziness, to put it automatically, because it's easier for you and it will probably bring you relevant results, and you don't need to worry about, okay, maybe that will contain long words, but maybe it has short words. So OpenSearch will take care of this for you. I think it's quite cool. And now you know the difference between desert and desert. Desert with 2S are the sweet ones, and the water one is the dry one. So it would, one of the recipes we found was mango and mellow dessert would look a bit like this, which was, I think it's tasty. We are close to Christmas, so I was thinking maybe we can try to search for something like Christmas-ish. So let's see if we can find something. I will use the match one, and let's use the match one. And we're gonna look in the title for Christmas. Hope this word is correct. Yes, so you can see it here. We find recipes like Christmas Continental and eggnog. Actually, interesting things here. You find it has Christmas recipes that maybe you do it. Yes, this is how the search, some of the search queries work. OpenSearch comes with something called dashboards, which I will show you is something like this. Let me show you here. Did I have it open? Yeah, I have it here. So here's the OpenSearch dashboards. You can do things like this. For example, here I did a cloud representation with all the words that are in title, and I can see which one shows up more often, like pastry dough, chicken, and turkey recipes would be the ones that shows very often. Let me remove it here, and this would be something. Yes, so I will continue presenting. But yeah, this is how you use OpenSearch dashboards. If you want to see how you can connect with your cluster and do different things using this CLI, you can go here to GitHub repository, and I'll be happy to assist you with anything that you need there. And yes, one thing I want to show you as the last thing is how can you see OpenSearch has a search engine being used in a project. Maybe you want to use in your application. And we have it here, the documentation from my company, which actually we are using OpenSearch in the back end to has a search engine. So if I look here for OpenSearch, you can see that it's bringing some results here. according with the relevance. And you can find this project, maybe it inspires you to adopting your own documentation or your own projects in the dev portal. You can see how it's like e-practice, how you can use OpenSearch in a real open source code, so to say. So I hope you like the presentation, and that's it what we have for today. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Laysa. Really interesting talk. And I will, okay. It was very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I have only one question. Like, because me too, obviously, I'm not a native English speaker. How is the support on different languages, like, for example, Greek or I don't know, Spanish? Is it
Yes, the
related or
support,
not?
it's when you are sending your data to OpenSearch, you have to specify the language. But of
Okay.
course, it's nothing in software development. It has easy as it looks. So it's not just like put your language there. But depending on the language, you have to put vocabularies or ways that the word should be split. For example, in the German language, we have a lot of composed words. So if you're looking for orange juice, they actually orange juice is one word in German.
Yeah.
So you think that, for example, if someone is looking for juice, they still should be able to find orange juice, even if they are in one word. So how does OpenSearch actually looks on that? You would have to split the words. You have to tell OpenSearch, okay, this word is a composed word. You have to split the word and to be able to still get relevant results. So this is very interesting. It is not as simple as it looks. So definitely, so far I have used more the English one, which is by default, everything you use, it will be in English optimized. But it is nice to know that it can handle different languages.
Yes, sure. So, thank you very much. You have
Thank you for having me.
a
And
great background, I have to say,
yeah,
behind you.
thank you.
Yeah, and
It's very, yeah, I'm preparing for the winter. So
it's very wintry, so I would say, with the polar bear.
yeah, so it's very cold though. So yeah. So only polar bears can survive in this room.
Okay,
So thank you, and I wish you all a great rest of conference.
you too. I hope you will enjoy.
Bye everyone.